All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Easy Money, a sports betting show. Here Tuesday, October 11th, 2022. Got Major League Baseball playoffs in full swing. Seattle's up 4-0 the bottom of the second over the Astros. The Phillies are up 7-3 over the Braves, and I think that game's in the seventh inning still. Phillies jumped all over the Braves quick, got Fried out of there quick, scored like 6 runs on Fried in the first 3 innings. I just saw that was the shortest start Fried's had since like 2019.
I didn't know much about the Phillies starter, but they didn't mess around.
Yeah.
They didn't mess around. The guy had guy on base and only give up 1 run. Third or fourth inning, they took him out. Went to the bullpen. Not taking no chances.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, these teams that play in the wild card, you're at a disadvantage in a way because you've probably used your best 2 starters in the wild card. But if you can get out of this first game with a win, then you're set up real good because then you have your top 2 guys for the second and third. I mean, if the Mariners can pull this win off, I know it's still early, but if they can pull this win off, you're going to have Castillo and Ray the next 2 games. Yeah,
Their best 2
they'll
guys.
have Nola and Wheeler. Yeah, because they pitched Suarez today, who's a couple years ago he was one of the top pitchers in the league, but he hadn't been one of the top pitchers this year. He had a little bit of down year, but he was able to do enough today. The Phillies' bats came alive. They were able to get them. They scored 2 runs there in the first inning, and start scoring a few runs. It put some pressure on guys.
They're playing best of 5 series.
Yes, these are best of 5. I believe it goes to the best of 7 in the ALCS and NLCS, and of course for the World Series as well. But we'll go ahead. We'll go over the baseball games, and then we'll talk a little NFL. But like I said, Phillies are up 7-3, top of the 8th inning in that game. Phillies are 3.5 run favorites right now on your live odds, minus 4,500 on the money line. Mariners are, excuse me, 2.5 run favorites right now with a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the second, and minus 550 on the money line. Over under for that game went up to 9.5. Over under for the Braves and Phillies is at 11. They're already at 10, so you're making on no runs, no more runs getting scored. 9.5. Oh, in the Mariners and Astros game, that don't sound too bad at the under the 9.5. Mariners usually don't score a whole lot of runs, so them getting 4 is big for them. And then here at 7:30 tonight, well, 7:37. I don't know why they can't pick a round number, but you got the Guardians at the Yankees. Yankees are 1.5 run favorites at home, minus 200 on the money line. Yankees will have Garrett Cole on the mound. Guardians are going to have Quantrill on the mound. They're in the same situation where they use their better 2 pitchers. Use their better 2 pitchers in the wild card, so they're going to try to get through this first game. Either the Guardians is going to be if they can hit the ball. That's their big thing. They got pitching. It's going to be scoring runs because it's going to be hard to hold that Yankees lineup down from scores. scored some runs. The Yankees' offense is pretty damn good, and they're gonna have Cole on the mound, so that but seen Verlander get off to a rough start. We saw Fried, who's been one of the better pitchers in baseball this year, get off to a rough start. So that was something that we had talked about last week. Yeah, it's nice to get your players some rest, but it can really affect your pitchers because
if you have extra days off, if you're not used to. I mean, I know they can pitch on the side and everything. Get used to that pitching every 3 or 4 days, whatever.
yeah,
Uh, and now you got some extra days off. It makes a difference. Team setting. Phillies, have been playing. The Phillies come out and their bats are on fire. Uh, Seattle's been playing. Bats are on fire. Who knows? Yankees bats may come out and may not be on fire.
yeah.
Atlanta did. I mean, they've been steady and their bats have not been. So you just don't know. That's what the key is. The playoffs. It make no difference if you other team won 110 games and you only won 90. What's the difference now is can you beat them the best 2 out of 3 or the best 3 out of 5 or the best 4 out of 7? That's what makes a difference.
And the Mariners came in hot too because they won their wild card series like these other wild card teams, but they were down 8-1 in that second game and stormed back. So I mean, you can carry some of that momentum over, and it looked like they did, getting 4 runs there in the first the first inning. Then you have the Padres at the Dodgers tonight. Game starts at 9:37. Dodgers are 1.5 run favorites. They're minus 245 on the money line. They're starting Urias tonight. They're going to save Kershaw for game two. Which I thought was a little surprising that they wasn't going to start Kershaw game one, but I guess they figured maybe get through tonight's game and then have your better pitchers uh, against their better pitchers. Ricky says he has Jay and Mickey going at it right now.
Sure.
Bet you Jay freaking out a little bit being down 4-0 right off the bat. But you have Clevenger up for the Padres. Uh, Today's game's been interesting so far. Like I said, a lot of people didn't think I know the game's not over, but didn't think the Phillies was going to have a real good chance today starting Suarez, not being able to start Nola or Wheeler. But the Braves got off to Fried. I don't know. Fried didn't look like himself today. Like I said, you don't see him pitch only 3 innings very often, especially give up what he gave up. The Astros getting off to a slow start here. And the Mariners, man, they're a young team, and to me, they're not a team you want to give momentum to. To me, this is a big game real big game for the Astros. Don't get me wrong; it's playoffs. All of them are big, but you don't want to give Mariners momentum going into having Castillo and Ray on the mound, uh, facing your next couple of games.
Throughout the record, still seen a lot of them. We didn't have a great record with the Reds, but the team that used to look at his record. This team ain't that great. 5-5 or 6-6 or whatever. He's one of the better pitchers in baseball.
Oh yeah, he's been one of the better pitchers all season, but with the Reds, he didn't get a lot of run support. He came over here to Seattle, and he done what they brought him in for, in that wild card round. They're going to be looking for him to have a big game. It won't be. I think they played a Thursday, maybe. The National League plays them again tomorrow, and the American League don't. Now they start staggered. And this is
Really? They just go play like they've been playing.
I think tomorrow's National League, then American League. Then I think Friday they all play again or something.
I figured they'd be doing it like they've been doing.
That's what I thought. I knew there would be a day off because of travel. But I didn't. I thought they'd keep them all
I figured
four.
all four would play Tuesday, all four play Wednesday, Thursday would be off, and back at it.
Yeah, I guess they're splitting it up. American League, National League, the next couple of days. But I'll give up my picks for the other two baseball games here as we get later on in the show. Let's see what we got hockey starting tonight.
Vegas plays tonight.
We got
Tonight.
Lightning and Rangers play tonight as well. And Vegas play the Kings. NBA starts next week. No college football tonight. Got one college football game tomorrow night. NFL, of course, there isn't none tonight, but we'll go ahead and take a look at some of these NFL games. Thursday night, you have the Washington Commanders at the Chicago Bears. Commanders are, excuse me, the Bears are 1 point favorites at home. They're minus 122 on the money line. This is a game I think might challenge the Colts and Broncos for one, for the worst Thursday night game of the year. Although if you can get much worse than what that game was, but this is a game I can see being another low-scoring game. Washington defense has really been struggling though as of late. Didn't see the day where Rivera threw Wentz under the bus.
I heard a little bit about that.
Yeah. Not that Wentz has played great, but it hasn't just been the quarterback. Like I said, their defense hasn't been good at all. But Bears are minus 122 on the money line. Commanders are plus 104. Over-unders at 37.5. I think 37.5 might be probably a lot of points in this game. I can see this being a low-scoring game. We know the Bears usually don't put up a whole lot of points. I can see this being a low-scoring game. Bucks and Steelers. Steelers have not looked good here most of the season. Bucks are 8.5-point favorites there. But even with that being said, it's hard for me to give up 8.5 points with Tampa Bay because their offense hasn't looked real great. They got pretty good defense.
Steelers' defense is really struggling.
Yeah.
They really are.
Ever since they lost Watt.
Yeah, they've come around. And if they're going to go with that rookie quarterback, he makes mistakes. That just makes it harder on them. I will make mistakes. I think they went away from Trubisky too soon.
I do too, but I think media finally got to Tomlin. Everybody was wanting him to play that rookie because he's from Pittsburgh. But sometimes just because a guy looks decent in the preseason as a rookie, don't mean he's going to in the regular season. And then when they brought him in against the tough part of the schedule, playing the Bills, and then now the Bucks. I mean, that's 2 tough starts in a row. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Colts. This is a huge game for the Colts. You can't lose another division game. You're already lost 2 division games, tied 1. You can't afford to lose another division game. The Colts are actually favored in this game at home, by 2.5 points, minus 130 on the money line. Jacksonville's plus 110 on the money line. Over under for this game is at 41.5. And
Jacksonville's offense has really struggled ever since they got off that good start against Philadelphia and scored 14 points. At the last 6 quarters, they really struggled.
been turning the ball over, which they wasn't doing at the beginning of the season. They've been turning the ball over. Yeah, this is a big game for the Colts. Haven't looked at all the injury reports. Hopefully I think Taylor will probably be back. Not sure about Leonard yet. He was in that concussion protocol, so you never know how that's going to go. But no, it's a big game for the Colts being at home. It's like I said, it's a must-win game. If they lose this game, Frank Reich might be in a little bit of trouble losing their division game. Bengals at the Saints. Bengals are 1.5-point favorites on the road. They're minus 126 on the money line. The Saints are plus 108 on the money line. I like the Bengals in this game. Bengals very easily could have won that game the other night against Baltimore. Turning down points came back and cost them. I don't understand why all these coaches are turning down points. It takes points to win games, and it's like they just take these points for granted anymore. We saw it last night with the Raiders going for a 2-point conversion when it made no sense to go for a 2-point conversion.
I didn't understand that. Analytics and all that. That didn't make sense, period.
No, because what if you're only up by either way, if you're a tie game or up by 1, the field goal still beats you. So why not get the tie? That way, if you do make a stop like your defense did, then the worst thing that probably could happen is you go into overtime. Then they had receivers running into each other on the last play. It was Raiders have been one of the more disappointing teams in the league so far this season. From what their expectations was, them and the Broncos. I think you have to put them 2 up there as 2 of the more disappointing teams if you go by what preseason expectations was. Because I mean, everybody thought the Raiders was going to be competing for the West. You know what I mean? And then you also thought that A lot of people thought that the Broncos was a quarterback away and getting Russell Wilson, they were going to look a lot better. Honestly, I think they've looked worse this year than they did last year. Everybody wanting to blame it all on Hackett. Not saying Hackett's been the best coach, because he hasn't. But Russell Wilson hasn't played well either. I think you got to put some of the blame on both of them. Saints are struggling at quarterback right now. Dalton's been starting with Winston being out with that rib injury. Not sure if Winston will be back this game or not. Bottom of the 8, 7-3. Braves are starting to run out down to the last 5 outs here. Then you have the Jets at the Packers. Jets have been playing a little bit better since they got Zach Wilson back. Packers are struggling offensively. They ain't been able to find no chemistry offensively. And then for some reason they got up to a lead against the Giants and then decided they wanted to throw the ball, keep trying to throw the ball deep. I didn't understand that at all. When you've been running the ball so good all year, that's what you got to keep. That's going to be their bread and butter this year. You got to run the ball with them 2 dominant backs you have. Aaron Rodgers, not that he ain't capable of it. He don't have the weapons right now to be trying to throw the ball around like that.
Like I said, they have chemistry right now.
The Packers are 7-point favorites in that game. Patriots at the Browns. Browns should have won a game the other day. Should have won Sunday. Missed a field goal after the Chargers coach basically gave him a game by going for it in his own territory. Browns are a team that are 3-2, 2-3, and could very easily have a couple more wins as they're trying to basically get through the season until they get Watson back. But how effective is Watson going to be this season anyway when he gets back? The Patriots blew out the Lions over the weekend, which kind of surprised me. Got that rookie quarterback in that Zapp, however you pronounce his name. He's been playing well. I know a lot of people think he's looked better in his game and a half than what Mac Jones had all season. That'd be an interesting game. Vikings at Dolphins. Dolphins don't know who they're going to have a quarterback. Bridgewater, they say he's not in concussion protocol after being took out of that game the other day. But the coach also said it's too early.
What's he not in concussion protocol?
I don't know.
Are they going to screw up another one?
I didn't even see the hit or anything on him. So I'm not sure. I know a lot of people. I know from what I heard, they ruled him out of the game before he was ever evaluated or anything last time. I think they might have been a thing where they were a little overly cautious after what happened to it, but they don't know who their quarterback's going to be. The Vikings have one loss, and that was to the Eagles in a game that they didn't play very good, and the Eagles haven't been beat. The Vikings are 3-point favorites on the road. I'd favor the Vikings in that game, especially with not knowing who the Dolphins quarterback's going to be. They had to play a third-string quarterback last week and just got killed.
Vikings are looking good. The key is they'll be able to win a big game in a big game. That's something they haven't proved yet to win that big game. If they can ever get over the hump, they got the talent.
In that game, I think it's going to be better than what a lot of people thought it was going to be, especially at the beginning of the season. You got the Ravens and the Giants. Giants have been playing pretty good football. Got a big win in London against the Packers. Came from behind win. I think the Giants are really missing a receiver. They don't have very much depth at receiver. Barkley's been really carrying them in their defense. But the Ravens are 5-point favorites in that game on the road. 49ers at the Falcons. 49ers are 5.5-point favorites. They did lose Boza. I'm not sure how many games they lost him. So that could be a big blow to their defense. 49ers have one of the better defenses in the league. Falcons haven't been playing terrible. Had a good chance of maybe winning the game against Tampa Bay if you don't get a flat-out terrible roughing the passer call. We saw another one I thought was pretty terrible last night. They called on the Chiefs. The guy stripped the ball from the quarterback, had the ball in his hand, even posted his arm out so he wouldn't land with all his weight on the quarterback, and they called. Well, I mean, they got to get that correct. I guess the NFL was having some kind of meeting about it, but they got it went from one extreme to the other.
I don't understand why they're so worried about the call. They made that call. Wasn't that call made when we got settled? Or not?
No, there wasn't no roughing the passer call on two either. Which I really didn't. I mean, either one of the plays, I really don't think there should have been roughing on there. I mean, you got kind of slung to the ground on there, but what was the guy supposed to do? You tell me can't hit low on the legs, can't hit high, so you get a guy around the waist. The guy weighs 200. It ain't like he's a small. These are
No.
small guys. They weigh
No.
200 pounds. I mean, and you got a guy that weighs over 300 pounds coming at you full speed, and you're expecting. I mean, what do you want the guy to do? Like that guy with Brady, he didn't do anything wrong. He done everything that he could not to hurt Brady.
That wasn't a hard hit.
It's getting ridiculous. They're going to have to do something because it's affecting the game. I don't know what they're going to do unless you're going to start reviewing these, and then that slows that kind of takes the rhythm out of the game. Review every time a quarterback gets hit. I think there's too much gray area there on what's roughing and what's not roughing. I understand. Hey, I agree. You got to protect players, but you can also football's a violent sport. You can only protect them. Try to make rules to protect these players so much. There's going to be a risk no matter what. And I mean that's one reason why they get compensated. They get highly compensated for what they do is because it is dangerous. But I mean, if you're going to try to take every aspect of a concussion or an injury out of the game, you're not going to be playing tackle football. And I mean, in the way they're getting these defenses now, that they already took so much away from the defense that you can't do, especially hitting the quarterback. Well, before long, what are they going to do? Put the red jerseys on quarterbacks and say you can't hit the quarterback during the game? That's almost what it's getting to anymore, especially if you're going to call what you called on Brady, roughing the passer. And I thought last night's one they called on Kansas City was I've never seen a guy get the football and you call roughing the passer. Strip the ball from the guy and he fell on top of him, but I mean there wasn't nothing, what was he supposed to do? There wasn't nothing he could do. Panthers at the Rams. Neither one of these teams have looked great. Panthers just fired a coach. Rams are 10.5-point favorite. I favor the Rams in this game. 10.5 is a lot of points, especially for a team like that's been struggling, like the Rams have offensively. Cardinals and Seahawks. Cardinals are a team that could have a lot better record than what they have. I think they're. I still don't understand how their coach still has a job. I didn't think it was a great hire when they hired him. And some of the decisions that he made just don't make a whole lot of sense. They should have very easily beat the Eagles Sunday. We were listening to that game. But the game I'm looking forward to Sunday afternoon is going to be the Bills and the Chiefs. That should be a fun game to watch. I mean, everybody remembers what the playoff game last year when them two got together. So this is probably the best two teams in the AFC right now. Bills are struggling in their secondary with some injuries, but their front seven, man, their offense is. Josh Allen's playing as good at quarterback as anybody in the league. They actually have the Bills as favorites on the road, which kind of surprised me. Bills are 2.5-point favorites on the road. I figured Chiefs would be favorite since they were at home. I figured Chiefs would be 2.5 to 3-point favorite at home. Bills are favored on the road. Over under for that game is 53.5. I would look for that to be a high scoring game. The Sunday night, you have the Cowboys and the Eagles, which I think is going to be a good game. You get the Cowboys defense that's been playing probably. I'd say they're probably the best defense in the league right now. And the Eagles have been pretty solid on both sides of the ball. Like I said, there's been a couple games that they've had some scares that they could have lost, but they've been able to fight through it. And the only undefeated team left. They're 5.5-point favorites at home. I think the Cowboys are still up in the air on who they're going to start at quarterback. If they're going to bring Dak back, or if it's going to be Rush again. From what I hear, I think there's still worries about Dak gripping the ball. If you're still worried about him gripping the ball, you don't start it. If you won all these games, you're right there where you need to be. So why rush him back and take a chance of getting him hurt? Worse, than him be out even longer. I know a lot of Cowboys fans don't want him to bring Dak back at all. I think that's one. I think that's more a little crazy, just because it'd be different if Rush was just lighting it up and he was the reason. Don't get me wrong, he's not the reason. He's not making them lose, but he also hasn't been the sole reason why. I think he threw for a little over 100 yards last game. He's not turning the ball over. But what worries me about the Cowboys is you bring Dak back, are you going to change your play call? Right now, you're running the ball and you're playing defense, and that's their formula to win.
But the other thing, what if they play right? He's still there.
Oh yeah,
You bring that
oh yeah, I understand that too.
back. You know, it's a tough call. I mean, to me, if you beat Philadelphia, undefeated team and the best team right now, NFC by record, and maybe the best right now, how do you how would you take out? How do
Yeah,
you take Rush out?
no,
And I agree with what you're saying. He ain't winning the games. He damn sure ain't losing them.
yeah. Well, and what worries me is that are you going to change? Is your offensive coordinator going to change? Are you going to change the? Is your offensive coordinator Kellen Moore going to change the way he's calling games? Right now, you're running the ball, and that's what they need to do: run the ball, play, especially that defense. You bring Dak in, are you going to try to go back to this? All you're doing is trying to throw the ball around, and and that's what worries me the most. If you're going to bring Dak in and keep calling the plays like you're calling, okay, I think you might be all right. But if you bring him in and you try to change the way you've been running your offense, one, that can mess up your chemistry, and if you bring Dak in and you lose, hey, everybody's going to be on you. Jerry keeps saying about how it's a good thing that to have this situation, which I understand that, but it also can be a bad thing too. Because you could have some players in that locker room that want to stay with Rush. You could have the other ones that are that guy want Dak on the field, and you know what I mean, start causing a little bit of little friction in your locker room.
One of the criticisms about Romo was he never won the big one. And that kind of about that. He hasn't won the big one. So
I thought they overpaid for Dak myself anyway. To me, he hasn't proved that he's a top quarterback in the league to pay him the kind of contract they gave him. Uh, yeah, he put up some good numbers, but a lot of his numbers are in garbage time after the game was basically already over. And then on Monday night, Broncos and Chargers.
and you get a guy like Jimmy G, wins games, about what you criticize him, because he don't get the number. What matters is win. At least to me.
But I just took Jimmy G as a Colts quarterback. They were looking for him.
I mean, out there and you win games, what matters.
Everybody wants to talk about how great Shanahan is as a coach. I'm not saying he's not. But look at Shanahan's record when he hasn't had Jimmy G. You have Broncos at Chargers on Monday night. It should be a game that Chargers. I think Chargers will win. The Broncos just haven't proven that they can score points, especially touchdowns. They're struggling in the red zone. Russell Wilson hasn't looked good. They, honestly, they kind of gave the Colts that game a little bit by all you had to do was kick a field goal, and you had a pretty good chance. The Colts hadn't scored a touchdown the whole game either. But instead, you throw a pass, which I didn't understand at all, and ended up being intercepted, and then Colts was able to force overtime, and then of course Broncos go for it in overtime instead of taking the chance to have a field goal to tie it back up, and Colts was able to stop them. Stephon Gilmore basically won that game for the Colts with a couple big defensive plays that he made. That's the games for this week. Like I said, we'll give out our official picks for them later this week. You have NBA regular season to be kicking off next week. College football tomorrow. You have Louisiana Lafayette against Marshall. Marshall is 10.5-point favorite. We'll give out our picks on that game tomorrow. You also have Temple at Central Florida on Thursday. Baylor at West Virginia on Thursday. That's all the Thursday games. You have a couple on Friday, and then of course you have a full slate on Saturday, which we'll talk more college football as we get closer to this Saturday. Penn State and Michigan It should be a pretty good game, I would say, especially a Big Ten matchup. USC and Utah, so there's pretty good matchups this Saturday. Um, all right, and baseball tonight. So I'm not gonna give out picks for these games because they were already on, but uh, Astros have scored a couple runs. It's 4-2 in the bottom of the third, and the Astros have a couple runners on base. Braves are down their last three outs here in the ninth. They're down by four, still 7-3. See, Seattle and Houston, bottom of the third, two outs. Houston has runners on first and second. And try and battle back after giving up four in the first. Like I said, that game is still a long way from being over. So anything could happen. Guardians and Yankees. I'm gonna go with the Yankees tonight. Uh, I just don't think the Guardians will have enough offense, and then and not being able to start either one of your top two pitchers tonight because you used them in the wild card. Uh, I think the Guardians' best chance is to jump on Garrett Cole early. If they can jump on Cole early, maybe get a little momentum, and then their pitching can hold up because they do have a good bullpen as well. But I think the Yankees are going to be able to score some runs. I like the Yankees tonight, and then I'm gonna go with the Padres tonight, and just basically because the Padres are starting to hit the ball, and I know the Dodgers have a great offense too, but I mean that Padres offense, they got a lot of weapons on offense. If they get hot.
A couple different ways to look at it. I mean, the Dodgers have owned Padres this year during the season. One way to look at it, but also Dodgers in the playoffs, at least recently, a couple years ago when they won the World Series, uh, all off and had trouble hitting the ball. So I'm gonna go with the Dodgers. I think they have San Diego.
I like the Yankees and the Padres. Uh, and I don't know, it just kind of surprised me that Dodgers are starting Urias. I really thought they would start. They would probably start Kershaw for game one. I mean, Kershaw's had his playoff troubles as well. So uh, John Monroe said he has Phillies, Astros. Astros are down 4-2 after the third here. Uh, Cleveland and the Dodgers. Like I said, I think the Cleveland and Yankees. I think it's going to be a lot better series than what people think it's going to be uh, because of Cleveland's pitching, especially if Cleveland can pull this game off.
If Cleveland found a way to pull this game off, with Bieber and the other starting pitcher, and putting the pressure on the Yankees getting up on nothing, it could be huge. I mean, I think what Cleveland needs, they need to pull out an upset. Um, they definitely need to win one of the first two.
Yeah,
but if they could win the first one, it would really put the pressure on the
yeah, especially because you're not, like I said, you're not, you don't have your best pitchers available. It's going to be fun. I'll tell you what, this Phillies and Braves game been a long game. This game started at 1 o'clock Eastern time, and here it is, 9 minutes till 5 on the East Coast, and this game's still going on.
Yeah.
It's been a long game. If you flip that over, I think the other game started at like 3:30 or something. It's in the fourth inning. I think it started at 20 till 4. So they've been playing just a little over an hour, and they're already in the fourth inning. So you just never know with a baseball game. Sometimes you get these games that in that Phillies and Braves, you had a lot of innings where the runners got on base. So I mean, you didn't have a whole lot of 1, 2, 3 innings.
quite a few pitcher changes too.
Well, yeah, because when you go to the bullpen in your third and fourth inning,
Both teams.
yeah. So I mean, and after that, you're going to be a lot. You're going to be you go through a lot of pitches, and that's something else kind of affects that series too. Is how's your bullpen hold up? Because if you use so much of your bullpen today, then say tomorrow's game, you get in another game where the starting pitcher's struggling. You have to that bullpen early. So, I understand. That's what kind of surprised me about the Phillies going pulling Suarez so quick was you had that lead. I thought maybe they'd try to at least get another inning out of them or two. But I understand too. You don't want to let a team back in the game either. So and either way, you're going to be second guessed. If it works, you're going to be, you know what I mean? And then tomorrow your bullpen struggles, you're going to be second guessed. Or if you don't pull them, they come back, then you're going to, I mean, basically a no-win situation, just like Harbaugh in football was getting questioned for not going for it. And then when he didn't go for it, he decided to kick the field goal. They were questioning him about that. So, uh, all right. You got anything else?
No, I'm good to go.
Like I said, tomorrow we'll give out our picks for college football tomorrow, Major League Baseball tomorrow. Tomorrow we should be able to start at closer to 3 o'clock on time. Afternoon show ran a little bit over because we didn't start till late. Tomorrow we'll try to get started at 3. Like I said, my baseball picks now, I'm going to go with the Yankees and the Padres. I was hoping Seattle's a team I'm wanting to win today. We'll see what happens. Like I said, they get off to an early lead, but still, it's my 4th inning. So it's a long way to go. Looks like the Phillies have a good chance of pulling out the first game victory here against the Braves. They have one out here in the 9th, nobody on base. No, runners on first and third. Okay. Runners on the corners with one out here in the Phillies and Atlanta game. You got the tying run on deck. You got Olsen up there in the cleanup hitter, number 4 hitters. Getting through the top of the order here. Definitely needs to throw a strike. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk some more baseball, give out our picks for college football games tomorrow as well. And we thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern with another episode of the Easy Money and Sports Betting Show. I hope everybody has a great evening and stay safe.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.